Hey, what's going on, guys? Xuen here. So today I want to do sort of quote-unquote my first Q&A video, because the past Q&A videos that I've done weren't really Q&A videos. They were stream highlights because I did it on my stream, which I'm probably going to get back to doing. Maybe, because I plan on doing a Q&A every week. It depends on how much comments I get. I'm going through comments that I didn't reply to like 4 months ago because I either missed them or I was too busy to reply to them at that time, and then thus meaning I missed them and then forgot about them, which I'm sorry. Which, if you're still watching this video, I'm answering a lot of those comments, and I'm also like from 4 months ago, and I'm scrolling through a lot of comments to come up with videos every week for this. So yeah, we're gonna be doing a lot of questions. We have a lot of questions actually. Some are about Legion, some about you know, the like dueling videos. Some are about the changes to Windwalker monks in Legion. A bunch of other questions, burst macro questions, like what toys do you use in your burst macro, and then a few questions at the end, which you probably have seen in the comments. Not the comments, but the title of the video, which I would suggest sticking to the end because I don't see why it's a terrible thing. But anyway, let's get started. We're gonna go into a transition to me moving in the camera because, yeah, the computer crashed and it was really weird that it corrupted the beginning and end of this video, which is actually really weird. For some reason, the middle of the video was fine and just the end of me getting into the Q&A was fine. Yeah, it was really weird, so I was like, I'm gonna have to retake this and then wait another 2 hours for the render. Transition time. This next question comes in by a lot of you, and that is, how am I a Worgen monk? The way that I am a Worgen monk is I use a program called Teamorph. You can get it from just Googling Teamorph. It's like the first website from Encore. I don't necessarily want to leave it in the description because, yeah, it's still sketchy whether or not it's quote unquote legal to use. But I will say that I personally don't know anyone that has got in trouble for using Teamorph at all. Personally, in my opinion, Blizzard doesn't care. It's just that thing where they're not allowed to say, yes, you can use it, because in the unlikely scenario that someone does get in trouble for using Teamorph, like a Blizzard employee tells someone, hey, don't use Teamorph, and the guy says, hey, fuck you, man, I'm gonna do what I want, and the Blizzard employee bans him, but another employee said, oh, hey, it's okay to use this, then the guy that says it's okay to use this would probably get fired. So it's kind of them covering their own ass, and I don't blame them. I really don't. So you do what you want to do with your account. If you want to risk it, you can. If for some reason you get caught, it's not a serious offense. Like, to be honest, there's a ton of streamers that use it. There's a ton of YouTubers that use it, including myself. I personally don't know anyone that's like in trouble for it. And anyone that I believe would get in trouble for it would just get a slap on the wrist. Like, I don't think they're going to perma-ban your account for using Teamorph. It's not a serious offense. It's not like you're botting. But anyway, if you're not comfortable using that program, don't do it. Like, I don't want you to feel like you're forced to, if that makes any sense. But it's a great program, and I highly suggest checking it out if you're interested. Next question comes in, how can you use Chi Torpedo in place? This question I also get asked a lot. But it takes a lot of practice, but basically it helps to have your roll, which would turn into your Chi Torpedo if you got it, and a keybind that's really close to your jump. And the reason for that is because the faster you hit those two keys in succession, can't talk, the less distance you're gonna move. So if you hit, I have my roll to Q, and I can just tap Q and spacebar really fast. But you hit your spacebar, which is your jump, and then you hit your Chi Torpedo. And the faster you hit your jump and Chi Torpedo, the less distance you're gonna travel. And if you really get it down, you can, like, if you rewatch the Beast Within clip, when I was fighting, in the very beginning when I was fighting that monk, when I was bursting him down, you can see how I pretty much stood in place the entire time when I used double Chi Torpedo, and that's because I hit it really fast. And not always I can do that. Sometimes the server likes that. I personally hate the talent. I think it's stupid. I'm really happy that they're getting rid of that in Legion. So just practice it. It takes definitely not something you're going to pick up overnight. Definitely takes practice. Might seem simple at the time, but getting it over and over You know, obviously takes practice. Excuse me. Moving on. How do you duel hunters as a Windwalker monk? That is a good question. I haven't done too much dueling this season, this entire expansion actually. One of the main reasons for that is because monks really struggle this expansion with catching up to people. And one of the main reasons for that is because we lost Chi Torpedo and our freedom that came with our gloves. Back in Mist, we had a passive that once we got our PvP gloves, we would get a freedom, or we would remove movement and snaring effects once we rolled or did a flying serpent kick. So that really helped. Like, that really helped. And we lost that. And we also had to take Chi Torpedo for damage. So what I would say, if a hunter has half a brain and you're versing him in an open field, you will probably not be able to kill him. Your best bet to kill a hunter in a 1v1 fight is to find a point to LOS and force him to come to you. Because again, a good hunter, especially if they're using frozen ammo, you will not be able to catch up to. Yeah, you can land them in paralysis, but guarantee they're going to have a defensive up by the time you can, you know, get them to a situation where they might be in trouble, and then they can just kite you again to full health. I've had that happen to me many times, and one of the ways that I dealt with it was I forced them to come to me in a point of LOS, and that's how I deal with that. So again, I personally hate it. It's like dueling fire mages. It's really stupid. Monks struggle with that. Try pulling at least one Chi Torpedo just in case you need to catch up to him, but other than that, it's really hard. You do really rely on LOS for that, and that's all I can really, that's the only suggestion I can give you, man. Just don't duel hunters. That's the other suggestion. Next question comes in, how old are you? I am 23 years old. I'm going to be 24 in January on the 17th. Probably still going to be streaming on the 17th. Just because I like hanging out with you guys. Yeah. Next question comes in, pretty fun movie. By the way, what toys do you use in your burst macro? I use a lot of toys in my burst macro. I pretty much just picked up my burst macro, did the /use on my trinket, and then I just shift clicked every single instant cast toy I could in my toy box. I'll be leaving if I remember, which I should because I'm going to be watching this video again, I'll be leaving a list of like the entire macro there. Just keep in mind that if you do not have the toys, it won't work. So just keep that in mind. Why isn't this working? Because you don't have the toys in your toy box. So that's that. Moving on. What are the fireworks you shoot out with your burst macro? Kind of going over the question previously, but to answer that, it is a toy called Winning Hand. You can get it from completing a Garrison Hearthstone mission, and as soon as you complete that Garrison mission, you get a vendor that will appear in your Garrison that will sell you two toys. One is a Hearthstone board that you can throw on the ground, and the other one is called Winning Hand, and you shoot up fireworks in the air and do a little dance. I just thought it looked cool. Next question is, what second weapon enchant would you use if you were dual wielding? Honestly, it really is up to you whether you feel comfortable using, you know, crit or multi-strike. I would not use mastery. Mastery is dog shit. Seriously. It's really bad, and I try to avoid mastery like the plague, and it's still our strongest, like our most percentage in stats, because Blizzard doesn't, yeah, our mastery's always really sucked. But I would personally enchant double haste. I'm using dual wielding and I'm enchanting double haste to proc the multi-strike more often. And I personally say fuck using staffs, because as a monk, I really don't feel comfortable gluing a staff to my neck, like to the back of my neck. I just don't really feel that fits the Windwalker fantasy of the class, if it makes any sense. If that makes any sense. Next question was, what would you like to see changed in the Windwalker spec? I could read that. Going into Legion, right? Going to next expansion and open it. There's a lot of things that I'd like to see changed, mainly to our mobility and defenses, which a lot of it's seeming like our mobility is looking really good. I've skimmed through some of the things. I did a sort of a thing with a video with Balance talking about how to make sure I didn't go into the next song. I wouldn't have permission for it. But I did a view with Balance, talking about my opinions of, you know, the new changes that are coming to Windwalker Monks in Legion, and I'm very excited about them. The only thing that I would have to say is that I'm very nervous about the 50 energy cost on Jab, which is Tiger Palm, which is gonna most likely be our new Jab. Which means, because they're sort of merging those two abilities together, which I'm really happy about, so you don't have to worry about always making sure you have Tiger Palm up, spending that 1 chi for a damage hitting ability that hits like a wet noodle, and so you get that armor reduction buff. So I'm pretty excited about that. The thing that I'm nervous about is the energy costs, but again, that's something that I can't really see how it's going to affect our rotation until I actually play like alpha or beta, because I don't know the energy per second, how it's going to be looking, because in WoD they nerfed the energy per second that classes get significantly to slow down a lot of classes rotations, like monks for example. So we do not get as much energy per second for haste, if that makes any sense. So, I mean, that's really the only concern. The other concern that I have is really like straight up defense, because we're still the squishiest melee in the game. But yeah, other than those two changes, I mean, monks are looking pretty good next expansion, and I'm pretty excited about them. So, moving on to the next question. It says, great YouTube and stream. What add-on are you using to display cooldowns above enemy nameplates? That add-on is called nameplate cooldowns. It used to be Vile cooldowns, and they changed it to nameplate cooldowns. It is an amazing add-on that I would highly suggest for both arenas and regular BGs. One of the reasons why I like it so much is because it allows me to 1vx a lot easier. So in videos where I'm going and doing 1vx fights or 1v multiple opponents, I'm able to see, okay, this guy has his trinket up, but this guy doesn't. But he's a plate user, so maybe I can force the Druid, which is a leather user, into a situation where I might trick him into trinketing something like a paralysis, and then landing a full sweep, and then landing an easy kill on the Feral Druid. If that makes any sense. So that add-on allows me to manage defensives, see who has what, and pretty much plan out accordingly how I go about doing my 1vx fights in arenas. It would allow me to pretty much see, I mean, you have Gladius and seeing all of the, you know, trinkets and when they're casting stuff, but it also helps to see all their defensives, like, okay, he has deep freeze in another 10 seconds. So you know, if you're versing like an RMD, if you see the deep freeze in 10 seconds, you know to look out for your healer for a deep freeze polymorph. So you can be in a position to stop that in 10 seconds. So it's a really good add-on to get in the habit of using. I would suggest picking it up. I'll be leaving a link to the curse down below so you can download it for yourself and hopefully enhance your PvP experience. Epic transition once again to the daytime. Night cycles and day cycles. Technically, it was the day all along, but it's just a little bit brighter. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I got shades and stuff, but yeah. So we're gonna be getting into the last question, which I get asked a lot, which is on my YouTube comments and stream, is, are you a furry? And the answer to that is yes. And before you type in the comments saying, oh my gosh, Xuen, you're a sexual deranged person, no. Let me first explain to you what a furry is, and before you close this video and think less of me or something. I don't know why you would, I'm still me. But a furry is someone that likes anthropomorphic creatures, which means that it's like an animal with human-like characteristics. Werewolves, that's one of the things. So if you are a person that likes anthropomorphic art or creatures, you are a furry. Simple as that. Like, it's just simple as that, and it's not a bad thing. Like, a lot of the community of furries gets a bad reputation because people think that, you know, because of that other art, which I am not really a fan of, which there is a lot of, believe me, there is a lot of it, but because there's that stuff, but again, in every community there's that type of art. It doesn't matter what it is, there's always going to be that stuff. But I feel like because it's a new thing, and it's because it's sort of like a up and coming thing that more and more people are doing and expressing and, you know, drawing, it gets a bad reputation, and it's really not. Like, it's not a bad thing. Like, we're still good people. And one of the things that I really like about this community is that, and you're gonna think I'm really weird for this, but they have those like conventions, like, you know, you got Comic-Con where people will dress up as Boba Fett or Darth Vader or some friends from Star Trek. You don't point fingers at them and say that they're weird, but the new things that are going on, they're called like furry conventions, where people will dress up as their avatar, or their persona is what they're called. And to be honest, I think that's really fucking cool. If I had the option to go do that, I would. And this is why. In communities like that, in conventions like that, it's different than Comic-Con where you're dressing up as someone else's character. In these conventions, you are dressing up as who you want to be portrayed as. Like, you know, what you believe is to be yourself, what you want to be portrayed as. So when you go to these conventions, there's no question of race or gender. You are you, and people are seeing you for who you are, and I think that's fucking awesome. And, you know, they do dance competitions, and if you've ever seen any not montages, but like con videos, you can just see how open and inviting the community is and how awesome it is. And I know it's gonna sound weird, but I'm gonna be leaving one of those videos in the description below, as well as a video of someone on YouTube talking a little bit more in depth of what furries are, if you guys are curious. Again, it's not a bad thing. I don't get why people give it such a bad reputation, and if I can be that voice to help give this community a better representation, I'm gonna do it, because, you know, I'm still me. I'm still a nice person, and so are the rest of the community. And I hope I can help change people's mind of, you know, who we are. And people, it's just basic human nature for humans to not really accept new things, so I completely understand. But one of the things that I'm going to be doing when this new gaming house is built, and even not sometime in my YouTube and streaming career, I want to do a charity for one of those events. I'm not even joking, because it goes to a good cause. One of the last conventions, I believe, raised $60,000 for an animal shelter, which I think is fucking awesome. So when this new gaming house becomes a thing, I'm going to be doing charities for Comic-Con, those furry cons, as well as like PAX. If they have any charities going on, I want to be there helping represent those communities, because it's not just the furry community, the gaming community as a whole also gets a bad reputation from a lot of the media, which I still don't understand. But that's pretty much answering that question, so you guys can take it as you will. You guys can rage in the comment section below. I really don't care, because I don't know what you've heard, but it's not true. Again, if you could take it with a grain of salt and still stick to your beliefs, I'm not one to tell you otherwise, but I'm just telling you what we're about and what we are, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you like anthropomorphic animals, you are a furry. Simple as that. There's no shame in that. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys had a wonderful day. It is New Year's Day today. I'm going to be streaming later tonight. Maybe Happy Apple Juice Fun. I'm not sure. Point is, I am going to be streaming tonight anyway, just to hang out with you guys, have some fun. This is a huge weight off my shoulders, to be honest, and I'm a lot more happy and confident now than I've ever been on YouTube. So, which I don't get why I didn't tell anyone sooner, because it's really not a big deal. But anyway, hope you guys have a wonderful new year. Hopefully you guys had a wonderful holiday. Get those New Year's resolutions going, so you can, you know, I know not everyone's into New Year's resolutions, but I have 3. It's to do YouTube more, to do streaming more, and to do drawing more, so I can, you know, have another hobby other than gaming that I enjoy. But yeah, make sure you drive safe, drink responsibly. If you go out to party, make sure that you take a cab, please. We don't need any accidents on New Year's. Make that your first New Year's resolution, to just be responsible. But other than that, Hope you guys have a wonderful New Year's, wonderful rest of your holiday, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, guys.